of the functionality are exist inside a system, having the lots of the functionality. For the example, MP3 player, MP4 player, and video, audio, text, PDF, documents. Not only this, development and lots of the process and services like SSH, HTTP, and lots of the services also. Okay, so everything cannot be included inside the single kernel. Cannot include. There is some supporting modules are required. There is some supporting software are required which is going to be support the kernel on demand, means when required, otherwise they are inactive. So what is the kernel modules? Kernel modules just a extending the kernel functionality, because when the module will be added, the new functionality will be added. Okay, similar inside your application, when you are installing one app inside your mobile phone or the laptop, so your laptop will start working as a new application, means new application is extended their functionality, but you will only execute that application at the time of requirement. If there is a no requirement, you will not execute application. Similar happened in a Linux. In a kernel, there is a kernel modules are added, loaded and unloaded and all these things. So loaded means starting and unloaded means stopping this. It happened is dynamically and manually. When you will put it the manually, then it is required whenever the service, application or modules is required, it will be load and unload. It will be happen in the dynamically part, but in a manually part you will have to enable or disable the modules manually. So generally there is a three advantage of the modules. So first is reduce the burden on the kernel, because otherwise all the modules functionality would have to be added directly to the kernel. So generally the work of the modules is going to be low the burden of the kernel. Another is dynamic loading. In a dynamic loading of the kernel modules facilitate the lower memory consumption. You avoid having to rebuild and reboot the system when new functionality is required. Whenever the new functionality is required, then in this case modules will be rebuild at the time of the reboot. If the new functionality is not required, so it will not be. For checking the modules, you can use the lsmod command. You will have to, there is a lsmod command. Lsmod command is used for checking all the modules. What is the work of the lsmod? Display the currently loaded kernel modules, their size, usage detailed and dependent modules, because one modules are dependent to the another. So you similar as a dependency of the softwares, similar dependency happened over the mode or the modules. If you want to get the information about the modules, you can use the mod info command. It will display the information about the kernel modules, their file name, license, description, author name, module version, dependent modules and other parameters will be displayed. So how you can use the mod info command? Mod info option, then give the module name. So how will you find out the module name? By using the lsmod command. If you want to install new module, you can use the ins is a short form of the install, insmod. Insmod command is used for the installing the module into currently running kernel. And also this at the time of the running system or the running kernel, if you want to add the install the module, so you can only install the module which are not dependent on the other modules. So insert any dependent module. Rmmod means removing the modules from the currently running kernel. The syntax of the command is rmmod module name, insmod module name. Okay, these are the already command has been written. So if you want to add some modules or removing some modules, so you can use the modprobe command. Modprobe command used to install the modules based on the, also including the dependency, because every module is dependent on the another module. So I have told you, because of the including modules or the dependency, when you run the modprobe command or you will install module by using the modprobe command, so it will install including its dependencies. Then -a will be used for the loading module, -r will use the other removing modules or the unload modules. Because of this, every modules and all the modules information is exist, and old information exists. If you want to latest version, then you can use the depmod command, and this is dependent modules will be dependent modules. If you want to only check the dependent modules, so you can use the depmod command and their options. If you want to update the kernels, so there is a parameters, so which is whenever you will update the kernel, so at the time of the upgrading, the dependent have some particular stuffs in mind, like when they will update the system, the modules will enhance the performance, security, settings and virtual memory settings. And all the parameters, all the information available inside this particular file proc/sys. So go and check for this information. So manage the kernel parameters. sysctl, systemctl command is used for the display and the changes parameters. Which parameters? Kernel parameters. These are the options: -a display or parameters, -w for the set the or write the parameter value, -p is provide no file name, means there is some configuration files exist or available, then you can load by using the -p command, like sysctl -p and give the information of the config file. -e option is used or ignores the errors about the unknown keys. -r used for the pattern or irregular expressions. Sometime kernel is not working properly, because if the software is there, so there is a problem, also the problem is there. So if the problem exists inside the kernel, it is called kernel panic. Kernel panic, based on the kernel panic, system has become the unstable. Unstable means because some servers, some applications, services are corrupted. So similar, the kernel also corrupted. Kernel itself is corrupted or otherwise improperly configured, then the kernel will be unstable. The system daemon program is not executed during the boot, then your system will be unusable. Or kernel cannot find, or otherwise means find and not mount to maintain the root file system. Malfunctioning or incompatible means if there is any malfunction, there is a incompatible hardware is loaded into the kernel of the boot, so also there is a possibilities to become the kernel panic. So if the kernel is unstable or kernel is facing some problem, so it is necessary and 100% kernel will generate some data, generate some login. generate some logs. When it will generate some log, so where you will get this information? You can get this information by using the dmessage command to print the kernel messages during the boot. All the messages are logged in this particular file. Later on, if you want to from the starting, if you want to create later on, means if you want to read the message later on, so you can find this messages inside this file. So this is the useful. Why? Because if the kernel is unstable, so you find out actually what is the reason, okay, and you can troubleshoot the problem. It is includes the driver messages as well.